20,000 people trapped inside a stadium. The power's out, the air is heavy, and the city around them collapsing. As Hurricane Katrina tore through New Orleans, the Superdome transformed from a football field into an emergency shelter, and then into a symbol of chaos. The roof ripped open, water poured in, and despair climbed floor by floor. And yet, the stadium survived. With more Super Bowls hosted than any other venue, one of the largest dome roofs in the world, and over $1 billion in upgrades, the Caesars Dome keeps breaking records. And that's before we even mentioned it was built on swampland, supported by more than 2,000 concrete piles, a project that was never supposed to work. So how did a structure that was barely expected to stand become one of American football's greatest icons? This is the wild story of the rise, fall, and rise again of a stadium that simply refuses to quit. In the mid-1960s, New Orleans was a vibrant cultural hub, but lacked the kind of modern sports infrastructure needed to host major national events. Although the city had Tulane Stadium, it was aging, weather-dependent, and limited in year-round use. Local leaders saw an opportunity not just to upgrade their sports facilities, but to position New Orleans as a major player in the national spotlight. That opportunity came in 1966, when New Orleans was awarded an NFL expansion team, the New Orleans Saints. But bringing professional football to the city was just the beginning. Civic and state officials envisioned something much bigger, a stadium that would make New Orleans competitive with cities like Houston, which had just unveiled the revolutionary Astrodome, hailed as the eighth wonder of the world. To bring their vision to life, city and state officials turned to a local architect named Nathaniel Buster Curtis and the firm Curtis & Davis. Known for their modernist designs, they proposed something never attempted on that scale before: a large, fully enclosed, column-free dome. The design was futuristic, with a sleek, curved shape inspired by both efficiency and aesthetics. The site chosen was a large area near the heart of downtown New Orleans, at the edge of the central business district. It was close to major roadways, the Mississippi River, and nearby hotels, a strategic location that would allow the Superdome to support tourism and economic activity in the area. It also replaced part of a neighborhood called the Girard Street Cemetery, which had to be relocated to make way for construction, a decision that stirred local controversy but ultimately cleared the path forward. By the early 1970s, the plans were approved, the designs finalized, and the city stood on the edge of a transformative moment. But could New Orleans really pull off the largest enclosed stadium the world had ever seen, with 1970s technology and a swamp beneath its feet? What followed next would test the limits of what was possible at the time. Construction on the Louisiana Superdome officially began in August 1971, and from the start, it was unlike any stadium project the United States had ever attempted. Built on a 52-acre site in downtown New Orleans, the structure was designed to be a fully enclosed, multi-purpose dome. Its signature roof, a steel lamella truss system, stretched 680 feet in diameter and soared 273 feet into the air. The roof covered nearly 10 acres and required more than 20,000 tons of steel to complete. Since New Orleans sits on soft, marshy ground with a high water table, engineers had to drive over 2,000 concrete foundation piles deep into the earth to support the massive weight of the stadium. The outer shell was clad in custom anodized aluminum panels developed specifically to resist fading and corrosion in the city's humid climate. Inside, the three-tiered seating configuration accommodated more than 72,000 fans, and the playing surface, a synthetic turf known as Mardi Gras, was developed for the stadium to withstand frequent event turnover. Its event floor offered more usable space than 3 football fields, and the stadium itself stood taller than a 25-story building. The most significant test of the stadium's resilience came in August 2005, when Hurricane Katrina struck New Orleans. With much of the city flooded and emergency services overwhelmed, the Superdome became a shelter for over 20,000 people. While the structure withstood the storm, the damage was severe. Winds tore off large sections of the outer roof membrane, rain poured in, and the interior suffered from flooding, power outages, and extreme overcrowding. In the aftermath, some questioned whether the Superdome could or should be salvaged. But just over a year later, it reopened to the public in a nationally televised Saints game that marked a defining moment in the city's recovery. The 2006 restoration involved gutting and rebuilding nearly every system. Turf was replaced, damaged seats and walls were repaired, HVAC and plumbing were restored, and the roof was reinforced to prevent future leaks.
We were able to get this thing on track, on time, and do something positive for the city of New Orleans.
That night, the Superdome wasn't just a stadium, it was a statement of survival. From there, the stadium embarked on a new era of upgrades focused on modernizing the fan experience. Beginning in the early 2010s, sweeping renovations updated seating across all levels, replacing outdated models with wider, more comfortable chairs. Concession stands were redesigned for better flow and increased variety, while luxury suites and club levels received a full interior overhaul. One of the most visible improvements came in the form of massive HD video boards installed in the end zones. Each board measures approximately 333 feet wide by 38 feet high, nearly the length of a football field, giving fans crystal clear views of the action and replays from any seat. These boards rank among the largest in any NFL stadium and marked a leap forward from the original scoreboard technology. Equally important was the complete transformation of the stadium's sound system. Engineers installed a line array setup, suspending advanced speaker arrays from the ceiling to deliver even, high-quality sound throughout the bowl. Whether it's the roar of the crowd, a referee's call, or the booming audio of a halftime concert, the upgraded system ensures clear and immersive audio regardless of where you're seated. The playing surface has also gone through several generations of innovation. The original Mardi Gras turf was groundbreaking for the 1970s, but quickly fell behind player safety standards. In 2003, it was replaced with infilled field turf, and in the years since, newer systems have been introduced. These modern artificial turfs are engineered to closely replicate natural grass while offering greater durability, improved traction, and enhanced player protection. In the most recent phase of upgrades, launched in 2020 and completed by 2024, the Superdome reimagined key parts of its interior.
We need to plan to keep this building in commerce. This Superdome is too important to the state of Louisiana, and certainly in particular to the city of New Orleans.
Upper-level concourses were widened, new grab-and-go concession markets were introduced to reduce wait times, and ADA-accessible seating decks were added to improve inclusivity. Enhanced lighting, modernized restrooms, and upgraded family-friendly areas transformed the stadium into a more comfortable and accessible environment. The team store and club lounges were also expanded and redesigned to reflect modern tastes and crowd flow. One of the most transformative visual changes was the redesign of the main atrium entrance, now featuring floor-to-ceiling glass panels that open up the structure and flood the once-enclosed entry area with natural light. At the same time, massive new escalator towers were built in the stadium's exterior, allowing fans to move between levels with greater ease, a long-requested fix to the congestion that plagued the original design. And while other stadiums have come and gone, or been replaced with new billion-dollar builds, the Superdome remains one of the only major sports arenas from the 1970s still in full-time use, not as a relic, but as a reimagined icon that continues to adapt, entertain, and inspire. But how much did this 50-year evolution really cost? And did the investment actually pay off? When the Louisiana Superdome opened its doors in 1975, it cost $134 million to build, a staggering sum at the time, equivalent to roughly $748 million today. Funded through state-issued bonds and managed by the Louisiana Stadium and Exposition District, the project was a bold bet that a single venue could change the trajectory of New Orleans' economy and visibility on the national stage. That gamble paid off. Over the decades, the Superdome has generated hundreds of millions in tourism revenue, helped support thousands of local jobs, and played host to some of the most watched events in sports, from 8 Super Bowls and multiple NCAA Final Fours to heavyweight boxing matches and international concert tours. It quickly became more than a sports arena. It was a symbol of modern New Orleans. The emergency repair and recovery work that followed the damage caused by Hurricane Katrina cost $185 million, or about $356 million in today's money. Funding came from FEMA, insurance claims, and state support. enabling the Superdome to reopen just over a year later. Between 2010 and 2024, the Superdome underwent two of its most expensive renovation phases, together totaling nearly $900 million in investment. The first, from 2010 to 2011, was funded through a public-private partnership involving the state of Louisiana, the New Orleans Saints, and the Louisiana Stadium and Exposition District, costing $336 million at the time, roughly $563 million today. The second, launched in 2020 and completed in 2024, was even more ambitious. Backed by the Saints, Caesars Entertainment, and the LSED, it added another $560 million to the stadium's long-running financial footprint. But was it worth it? Public perception of the Superdome has evolved dramatically, from early skepticism in the 1970s to widespread respect today. For many in New Orleans, the answer is a confident yes. The stadium has become a consistent economic engine, drawing millions of visitors and landing high-profile events that inject tens of millions into the local economy. For example, Super Bowl 59 is estimated to have generated around $500 million in economic activity for New Orleans. In an era when stadiums are routinely torn down after just a few decades, the Superdome's ability to adapt, rather than be replaced, is arguably its greatest achievement. As it nears its 50th anniversary, the Caesars Superdome stands not as a relic of the past, but as a reimagined monument of the present, proof that a structure built for everything can, with care and vision, become truly timeless. But with newer stadiums rising across the country, how long can the Superdome hold on to its crown? It depends on its next bold move. Ready to be amazed by the next groundbreaking construction project? Click on the video now and dive into a world where engineering and imagination collide. See you there!